Hello, welcome to the Godly Playroom. I'm Sherry Krause and I'm here in Wetaskiwin at First United Church with Ruth and Jackie. I'm very glad that you could come and join me today for a story. First, before we get started, we'll light our candle. Oh, that's a big, heavy candle. Once there was someone who said such amazing things and did such wonderful things that people would follow him. And one time when they followed him, they asked him, "Who are you?" And he said, "I am the light." That's a beautiful light today. So I hope that you are all well today. It's a bit of a blustery day today for May, but we're nice and warm in here. And we are now in the 4th week of the Easter season. So we're almost ready to hear a story. So now it's time to get ready, get comfortable, and take a deep breath. On the first day of the season of Easter, the women found an empty tomb, and they were beginning to know Jesus in a new way. On the second Sunday of Easter, the men traveling on the road to Emmaus met a stranger and shared bread with him. And they were beginning to know Jesus in a new way. In the third Sunday of Easter, they were beginning to know Jesus in their doubt. Thomas wanted to see and know as the others did. In the fourth Sunday of Easter, we remember how the disciples went north to the Sea of Galilee as Jesus had told them. It was a long journey, some 80 miles. It took about 4 days to walk. Most of them were fishermen, so they went to the Sea of Galilee to rest. They knew this place as boys. They had fished there with their fathers. Suddenly, Peter said, "I'm going fishing." And the rest of them came and helped prepare the boat. Soon they were pushing off into the sea, and the wind was filling the sails. They fished all night, but caught nothing. Still, the smell and the sounds of the sea were comforting to them. They were home. In the morning, the sun began to turn the sky pink and then blue. They could make out the shore, and they saw a man standing by a fire. They could see the smoke and the glow from the charcoal burning. "Have you caught anything?" All they could say was no. "Throw your net in on the other side." Well, what could they lose? So they gathered up their empty nets and threw them over on the other side. They could feel the fish moving as they held on to the ropes. John wasn't paying attention to the fish. He leaned forward and he was watching the man moving on the shore. He told Peter, "It is the Lord." Peter stood up. He jumped. He swam. He could feel the sand under his feet, and he waded ashore. The others turned the boat towards the land. As they were walking towards the fire, the stranger said, "Bring some fish." Soon they were gathered all around the fire, and the stranger wasn't a stranger. It was Jesus. But they were too afraid to say anything. There was fish and bread cooking on the fire. "Come and have some breakfast." They talked while they ate. The fish and the bread tasted of home. I want to start out. And then Jesus said to Peter, "Do you love me?" "Yes, of course." "Feed my lambs." "Do you love me?" "Yes." "Tend my sheep." "Do you love me?" "You know I do." "Feed my sheep." Then Jesus began to talk to Peter about growing old and how you may need help in your old age. He said sometimes people will tell you what to do, even if you don't want to hear it. Many years later, they wondered if Jesus was preparing Peter for his death in Rome as an old man. "Follow me." Did he mean everyone? No. So Peter went with Jesus, and they walked along the shore. Peter looked behind him and saw John following. Will this man die too, like the rest of us? That is not for you to know. Peter fell silent, and Jesus was gone. I wonder if there's anything that we could put with this story to help tell it, or something that just feels right for you. If we were all in the Godly Playroom, I would have you get up and find something from one of our stories. But maybe you can find something at home that will help you remember this story. Now, it's time for you to find something that you want to do in response to this story. So you can stop this anytime you want and find some materials to work with. And I'm going to do the same. So I will see you back for response time. Welcome back. I hope you found something for your response time. I found a few materials to work with. But first, I wonder what part of that story really spoke to you today? What part made you feel like responding to? I've heard that story a few times, and every time it's a little bit different. Sometimes what I really hear the most is the part where Jesus says to feed my sheep. And sometimes it's the part where throw the net on the other side. I really like that part. And sometimes it's having breakfast on the seashore. It sounds so wonderful coming in from a cold night of fishing. You're cold and hungry and coming in and somebody's made your breakfast for you and has a warm fire there for you. Sometimes that part I really pick up on. I think for me today, two parts of it, and part of it was just that sound and smell and feel of the sea and of coming home to it. So that's what I'm going to focus my response on. And so I found, this is actually a Christmas bulb, but I think you can use it at any time of the year to hang. And I'm going to put a little bit of sand in it, which reminds me of that sand on the bottom of the lake there. That feel of that sand on his feet, that was really nice. There's a bit of sand. Yeah, I think I'll put a little bit more in. I've never really done this before, so I'm kind of experimenting. So if you do something like this, you might do it totally different, and that's just fine. There, a little bit of sand in the bulb. And I found a few tiny shells that somebody has found on a seashore somewhere. I don't know where, somewhere in the world. They're very tiny. I'm going to put a few of those in there. Oh, they're so pretty. I don't know which ones to pick. Here's one. Oh, it has some coral colored swirls in it. How beautiful. Put that in there. Have you ever walked on a shore and found seashells? I really like doing that. Or sea glass. Oh, so much fun. There. I think we can put a few more in. I think there's quite a few. Oh, I like this one. It has kind of like gray and white patterns on it. It's amazing those little sea creatures could all look so different. And they're so tiny. Oh, there's one. This looks like one of those conch shells, but a little miniature one. There. So now I think we need some fish, but the only fish that I could find today are sticker fish. A bunch of stickers here of fish. That's a lot of fish. I wonder if that's how many fish they caught in their nets. I like that part. I do like fish. I like eating fish too. Okay, so we'll just stick some of those. I don't know how this is going to work when they're stickers. If they'll go in there. Oh, yeah, that one did. They might not stay the right side up. Maybe someday I'll find some actual little three-dimensional fish. Oh, thank you, Jackie. Jackie had a wonderful idea. Thank you, Jackie. She's a craft expert. She said stick them back to back and then they won't be so sticky. And then they'll have two sides. Lovely. And there it goes. Oh, that works good. But I have to find two that look the same. So that's like one of those games, matching games. I'll try one more. Which sea creature do we want? Oh, there's a starfish. I don't see another starfish. I like this crab.
No, you stick them on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
That works too.
Yeah, that's true. Lots of things you could do with this. There's our crab. So when I hear that part of the story about throwing the nets in on the other side, sometimes it makes me think about trying something different. Sometimes you can do the same thing over and over and over, and after a while it just doesn't work anymore. You have to change, and you have to try something new. And that's what they did. They always fished on that side. They threw it over and they caught a bunch of fish. So sometimes it's okay to try something different, and it's okay if you have to change, even though sometimes that's not much fun. Oh, get the top on it. Looks like that's going to be difficult for me today too. There we go. So now when you shake it, sometimes you see the different fish, you see the different seashells, and it just reminds you of maybe a trip you took to the sea, or it might remind you of this story where the fishermen went back home to fish. Now you can stop anytime you want and find your feast items, whatever you feel like having today for your feast, and I'll join you back then. Welcome back. We're ready for feast, so let's say a little prayer first. Thank you, God, for lakes and seas and rivers and sand and fish and welcoming fires. Amen. Clean my hands. Get ready for feast. Today I brought just a few little crackers to eat, so it'll be a little bit crunchy. But that's what I had in my house. They're good, but I don't know if that's really what I want now after talking about fish cooking on a fire. Now that's what I really want. And even if I can't have fish on an open fire, even a hot dog would be good. But we haven't had many of those days lately. We haven't had a fire pit yet. Yeah, it's just not the same, but I wonder if you've ever cooked over a fire, or if you've gone camping and had a fire that you could cook hot dogs on, or marshmallows. There's something very comforting and welcome about a fire and eating around a fire with friends and family. I know I'm really looking forward to it this summer. And how wonderful it is when someone cooks a meal for you. And so maybe when you cook a meal for someone, they feel the same way. Kind of reminds me of what Jesus was saying about feed my sheep. Sometimes it's just wonderful to share a meal with people. Or if you can't do that, maybe to find ways to help people who don't have enough to eat, even if you're not eating with them. think I'm just about done. This is all the cracker I want today. I'm going to clean up. And I hope you enjoyed your feast too. And I hope this summer you'll have a chance to have a meal with friends around a fire and to share those times with your family and friends. That's all there is for today for the story, and I'm so glad you could join me. Oh, I left our fire going. It's time to change the light first, then we say goodbye. The light is here in this room, and now we'll change it, and the light will spread all the way out to fill this room and find you where you are. Goodbye, and God bless.